he extended, how's event all above the nation. It doesn't question how pleasant the migrant are. They perhaps are pleasant. Largest migrant are pleasant. How's not the spot? The spot is more than changing rather than humane beings are intended to overview. Later Carlson signed in a change of the reason how unifies Lys's ideology on nearly each object, keys all the error of elites scornful of common Americans. Or note wherever the changing is not event, any location our leaders dwell, he told. They inflicted all of the in their foolish migration policies, and yet their own neighborhoods are mainly leaders are for variety, fair not wherever they dwell. But Carlson is incorrect on his center allegation, how the changing has bypassed the places wherever the nationalities' leaders dwell. And seems though more than a way base to depict the increasing variety as a risk to homeborn Americans. Allows decompress such claims. Down there is more than variety in U.S. cities at first, the complaint how leaders are isolated of the variety how they are formidable on some Americans of inferior tool. How's a straight echoing of the arguments by whites opponents of high school busing for the 1960s and 1970s. But all of the testimony shows how it is the Republic-leaning strongholds external of the main metropolitan areas how are the low affected by variety. Variety is lot more than prevailing in the big metropolitan areas how building more than of the nationalities industry, by the government, civil and print management, and as well now comprise the undeniable geographical basis of the more democratic election coalition. Hillary Clinton, for copy, won more than rather than part of her full votes in 2016 of FAIR, the nationality's 100 greatest counties times such identical places stipulated less than rather than 3 in 10 of Trump card's votes. The difference is obvious of several various angles. Looking particularly at migration, the disbalance is alike declared. On 85% of building Republicans' present districts wherever the stake of human beings unborn overseas is reduced rather than the domestic ordinary, on to enumeration figures. By difference, on 3/5 of Democrats' present districts wherever the overseas-born stake exceeds the domestic ordinary. The identical design holds on the country standard. In 2016, Clinton won 16 of the 20 states wherever the overseas-born comprise the highest stake of the people. Arizona, Florida, Georgia, and Texas were the just exceptions. Trump card, in rotate, won 26 of the 30 states in the least stake of residents unborn overseas. Maine, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Vermont were the single exceptions. Republicans conduct 42 of the 60 Senate seats in the 30 states in the least migrant. Democrats conduct 31 of 40 in the 20 states in the largest. Greater cities elect extraordinarily for Clinton at the Shire standard, the nationality's increasing variety has concentration in the largest metropolitan areas. William Frey, a demographer at the center-left Brookings establishment, has intended how couple-thirds of the full growth in the nationality's minority group people of 2000 to 2016 occurred in fair 127 big counties. Clinton won 103 of such counties. Trump card won fair 6 of the 50 counties how introduced the largest to the minority group people growth above how time. Hauling the objective lens out future, Frey calculates how 334 counties, consisting such in the at first team, expense for 85% of the minority group people increase with 2000, Clinton won 186 of such. The mandrel of Trump card's coalition is found in the nationalities left 2,807 counties, by Frey's calculate, 2,474 of them elect for the CEO. And yet fair 15% of the nationalities minority group people increase with 2,000 occurred in such counties. In all these ways Trump card nation, and the Republic coalition more than widely, remnant centered on the components of America how include been low, not largest, struck by growing variety. But though among such challenges, Frey's figures show how the ordinary whitesman in the dark blue leaning largest subway areas stay more than potential rather than such in the Republic leaning less places to dwell in neighborhoods wherever they are vulnerable to neighbors of some races. The largest places are diversification largest quickly in metropolitan areas of 1 millionth or more than, Frey calculates, the ordinary whites man lives in a neighborhood how is 71% whites, on to enumeration information. In metros among 500,000 and 1 millionth in people, the ordinary whites lives in a neighborhood how is 73% whites. For metros of 250,000 to 500,000, the drawing is 74%. In less metropolitan areas of less than rather than 250,000, the ordinary whites lives in a neighborhood how is 79% whites. He's America's suburban area, lot of that are medium revenue, how are proper various largest quickly, and he's the more than in isolation village areas, lot of that are poorer, how are freaking of, marked Manuel Minister, CEO of the Program for Ecological and Provincial Justice at the College of Southern California, in an electronic mail. Largest of the nationality's urban centers of government, economical, print, culture and civil force drop at the reduce end of how range of whites division. In New York and Chicago, the ordinary whites man lives in a neighborhood how is about 70% whites, in Los Angeles, the drawing is fair 52%. In the economical powerhouses of Houston and Miami, he's 55%. The tendency holds in data age centers such as San Jose, wherever the ordinary whites lives in a neighborhood how is 45% whites, San Francisco, 55%, Austin, 62%, and Seattle, 70%. And in the chair of Fed Force, the Washington, D.C., subway region, whites include 62% of the residents of the neighborhood for the ordinary whites man. These patterns barely present an ideally of seamless integration. And the exposition to neighbors of some races could be reduced for the rich whites in the big metros. But the places wherever whites division is big, wherever the ordinary whites is enclosed by neighbors who are low 85% whites, reads love a travelogue of Trump Card Nation via the center, of Gadsden, Alabama to Verdant Gulf, Wisconsin and Turnover, Western Virginia, to Jeffersontown, Missouri. Village places, red state, large plain state, the components of the southward how aren't as outdoor to variety, these are fate-ribbed republic areas, and down there is substantially no variety down there, Frey told in an interviewing. Down there is the entire multitude of really little areas, lot of them in the medium of the nation, wherever 80 or 90% of whites neighbors are whites. The U.S. is dependent on a junior, diversification labor, but such culture anxieties, that Carlson desired to drown, unclear the economical interdependency among older whites America and the junior populations of non-whites in general and migrant in special. Not just is the stake of whites decreasing in the junior people, so is the total quantity. Frey calculates how the quantity of whites junior rather than 15 bring down in completely 80% of U.S. counties of 2000 via 2016. Looking striker, he says, the enumeration projects how the whites people junior rather than 30 will decrease in each year among now and at low 2060. How tool down there is no horse of whites guys upcoming to substitute the generally whites infant boom now constantly aging out of the job strength. The increasing Latin American people how Carlson mourned has been painted to the rapidly developing storage and navigation jobs in the town, that sits at the crossroad of two main interstates. The changing has undoubtedly engendered clearance. But love lot some corrosion waste communities how include courted migrant to inverse people decrease. Hazleton above period has coalesced a crucial massive of regional residents who see the new arrivals as echoes of their own migrant ancestors and as the lifeline to supporting a sustainable quantity of regional taxpayers, consumer and K-12 students. We're a nation how is various rather than Japan or Italy and Germany. We include and prospect to fill our nation in youthful human beings in the labor strength, says Frey. Or if down there is any location how as necessary to include how replenish its such decreasing republic leaning areas how human beings love Carlson are hard to frighten.